There's a little fella we've just had, only a little common. Don't know, maybe about £8–9 possibly. I'll show you the rig that I've just caught him on.
We've returned the fish now, and Paul, as we said, is going to guide us through the rigs that he's using and the leaders. So over to you, Paul.
Okay. Pretty much since these come out, I've swapped over pretty much all my fish into this style in terms of your sort of like your rig end. What it is it's Nash's Diffusion range. This is like the leader, if you like. It's a double loop leader, about £30 breaking strain. The beauty of this setup is that it blends itself to every single lake bed you can possibly think of. Done loads of different tests on different waters that are fish, and everything you drop it on, whether it be weed, silt, gravel, clay, you know, whatever your lake bed is, sand or anything like that, this blends into it. You've not got the worry of using like a silt tubing or a silt lead core or something like that for a silt lake bed, and it might lay over like a clear spot that's maybe polished a bit, you know, and your silt leader shows up on that particular part. Whatever that lays on, it actually blends into. I'll show you how to set them up now, and what I actually do to them in my own personal fishing. First of all, obviously it's got no swivel on it, it's 2 looped ends. So you take the swivel of choice, which will be a size 8 swivel in this instance. You literally just feed it through the eye of the swivel, one of the full loops. It can be a little bit tricky because it's quite a thick material. Like so it's actually on the lead of the swivel. And what you do now is you take the other end of the loop and pass it through that loop, like so, and just feed it back down. When you get to this point, you just feed the swivel, the loop over the swivel, and that basically locks it. That's your swivel on.
Tightens it right up.
Yeah, basically like that, and that allows you then to put it into like your inline system or a lead clip in this case.
Yeah.
So whatever swivel of choice, that's how you mount them onto the leader. Then what we're going to do is put a lead clip down. This is the Diffusion weed lead clip. And you just literally used a latch baiting needle like so it doesn't get snagged or anything like that. Like so, and just feed that onto the leader. Let it go down. Matching tail rubber. Again, onto a latched baiting needle. Because this is rubber, I like to just wet it just to help it slide on. Like so.
Another thing I like about the clips on these is the shortness.
The weed one in particular has got a real stumpy back to it, and if you look at the actual tail rubber, absolutely minute.
Very minimal.
Yeah, it is. Minimal. It's, you know, from the size of a standard lead clip to this one, it's a real big
difference.
Yeah.
I mean that's probably what, a quarter of the size of a lot of the other clips
that
are on the market.
I'd say about quarter, a third of the size of a standard lead clip, so it makes ejection of leads really easy. You don't have to have this lead clip. I'll show you in a minute. They do a standard lead clip with this as well in Diffusion. So basically what we're going to do now is the actual swivel. There's a little hole in the middle of the lead clip where a pin goes through. So you've got to make sure that your swivel is in line with that pinhole. And you literally just line it up. You can see through these clips, so you can see that it's all right, and pull it in like so. And what you do now is you have a little pin that comes on one of these that you get with the clips. and you just literally feed them into the hole like so. Just wiggle them so they snap off, and then just squeeze them in like that. Now what that does, that pin actually locks the swivel in place. That saves the leg clip then on a fast take from travelling up the leader, and it's in theory a running setup. It keeps it, you know. So if you was to go into say a weed bed or anything like that, the lead would come off and not stay on the clip, and the swivel, the leg clip travel up the leader.
Actually aids in the ejection of the lead.
Yeah,
because
it's
locked
basically
in.
because the swivel is actually, you know,
it's actually
locking in the clip,
and it's being pulled all at the same time.
Exactly.
That lead's just going to come straight off.
Exactly. Absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
Obviously, the next step is your lead. You know, lead choice. Feed it onto the back of it. So we'll just put a little 2.5 ounce one on this one. And then again, you haven't got to worry too much with these about how far you're pushing the rubber on. Just put it on the length of it, because the ejection side of it is you know, it's far greater because everything's in my.
Another thing to note as well, you just sort of breezed over it there. You wet all that area before you push the rubber on. That's a great way to make sure that everything's nice and loose, and you know, just enough to keep it all on there for the cast. And like I say, if you're feeding fishing into the weed, you know, it's all gonna gonna break apart, no problem.
You're lubricating the inside of the rubber tail rubber in effect, what you're doing. So you know, should you get a run virtually straight away, you know, it's wet enough to come off. So that's sort of like your leg clip system, diffusion wise. Obviously, you're mounting your hook link onto it. You know, I've got my rig that I showed last time, which is basically it's a Fang X size 6, so snowman rig. You know, I don't know, probably about 12 milli gap on the air, blowback tubing, and in silicon, 0.5 on the shank and 0.75 on the bend of the hook. This one's on a coated hook link this time. They just get mounted on like so, and that is the diffusion leader. On the swivel end of it, on the loop end of it that goes to your main line, I personally prefer a Palomar knot to it, but you can use grinner knots or blood knots, something like that, whatever your knot are your choices. But I personally like a Palomar knot. It's like a non-strangulation knot, which, you know, I think it's the best knot you can do from main line to leader personally. So
what about if you want to put some rig putty along this?
Because you've got the pin in it, and there's no way that leg clip can travel up the leader. You know, if you was using something that the swivel could pull out of the front of, then I wouldn't suggest putting putty on it, because if that was to travel up the line, it could get jammed on the putty. But because in this particular clip, there's no chance of that happening because the pin is holding it in place. I do put a little blob of putty at the back, in the middle, and one at the back, just to aid it sinking. You know,
sinking down.
Not massive blobs, but you know, just enough to sort of like aid that sink.
But as you say, with this kind of clip system, doing the putty along the leader it's not a problem.
Yes,
it's
as
fine.
long as there's no way that system can travel up the leader. You know, I wouldn't recommend it with any old lead clip. You know, because some of them do pull free from the swivel pulls free from them and they travel up the leader. But on this Nash diffusion system, with a pin in it, I don't find it a problem to put the putty on it. Just on a few of the products, that's what the leaders actually look like. They come in 2 sizes. There's a 1.5 version of it, 1.5 metre, and a 75 centimetre version, which is basically 3/4 of a metre and a 1.5 metre. They're what they look like in the packages if you want to have a look in your tackle shop. They come in singles. There's leg clips, 2 types of leg clips. There's the weed one that I've just shown you, and a standard one. These come with the pins with them, so you've got enough pins to do all that.
Full kit.
Basically a full kit. One thing I would like to point out as well, that the tail rubbers, you need to match them up to the leg clips that you're using. So if you're using the weed diffusion bolt bead, you need the weed tail rubber for it, and on the other one, on the standard diffusion leg clip, use the standard tail rubber on it. All this is in the Diffusion Camo as well, so it all matches up together. For anywhere that's banned these type of leaders, there's a leader ban on in any description. Nash also does it in a tubing, so you can get the diffusion range in tubing as well. It's not tungsten impregnated like a lot of the tubings on the market, but for that clarity on the lake bed, you can always again putty this up just to give it that extra bit of wake. It is like a no spook tubing like Nash is famous for. So
just also to add to that, Nash also does a great little tool for people that struggle with the tubing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people that really struggle to thread the tubing on. It's basically just a wire, but it feeds through the tubing. No problem. We haven't got one to show you right now.
No, well, they derive from the pole angler. It's
yeah.
a pole elastic threader. So yeah. The top section of a matchman's pole, they could bring the elastic through it. That's obviously, right, yeah. We've took them on board in the carp world and used them in the tubing segment.
They really do help. I use one myself. So
yeah. If anybody wants to know the effectiveness of these diffusion leaders and exactly how they look on the lake bed, to get an idea of how really they are invisible, check out Nash's DVD. This is his latest one, the 2012 one. He's got some underwater footage on these leaders where he's got other companies' leaders on the lake bed and one of these diffusion ones next to him. He has to actually point an arrow to the leader because you can't see it. So
it's that camouflage.
Yeah, it's actually that camouflage. So if you want to sort of like see these actually on the lake bed and in a fishing situation, have a look at Nash's DVD. You can either pick these up; these are free from your local tackle shop, or he's actually got it on his website. Online, you can view it. It really does open your eyes. You wouldn't believe how effective this system is. One other quick thing, talking of diffusion, is this stuff. It's not actually out on sale at this moment in time, but this is a sample batch I've literally just received yesterday, and it's Diffusion Camo, like what all this stuff is, but it's actually a main line. I've not had a chance to try it yet. I literally just got this sample yesterday, and what it is, if you can see it, you get the leader. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but if you hold the leader up, you might be able to follow it down. But it actually blends in exactly the same as the leaders do. It comes in 12, I think it's 12, 15, 18 pound breaking strain. It is 1,000 metre spools and 12 pound is 0.35. It's pretty strong. I've done a few knot tests with this. To see the strength of it, and it reminds me of Nash's old bullet, but in a diffusion colour.
Yeah.
Definitely check this stuff out. It's something I'm going to be having a look at, and it could just be that little edge that we're all looking for in terms of keeping your main lines less visible to the carp.
We will come back to this on a later Carp Fever TV just to tell you how we've got on with it and exactly if it's does what it says on the tin kind of thing.
Okay, so that's your diffusion range.
Thanks a lot, Paul.
Okay, thank you.
Right, we're just going to review the two cradles from Nash. You've got the standard and you've got the deluxe. I personally think that these are probably one of the best pieces of kit that's been produced for anglers last year, and with this one, obviously that was end of 2011 into 2012, so this year so far. It brings fish safety to a whole new level, to be fair. I mean, some might argue that they're a little bit bigger and bulkier than just having your beanie mat, which is a fair point, but I think, with fish safety you can't compromise, and to have something like this at your disposal is it just, like I say, it brings carp safety into a whole new level. I know I've spoken to fishery owners that agree that these are actually superb. There are certain fisheries around the country that actually have got these as standard, in the pegs for anglers to use, because the belief is it's so much safer. So this is the standard. As you can see, it's a good size. It's completely suspended off the floor, so the fish is not contacting any gravel or anything that might be, poking through a mat, for instance. You've got these covers here, which you can just after putting your fish in, you can just flap these across, they velcro up, that one comes across, so that fish isn't coming out anywhere. The other beauty about it is you can tip water in there, so there's constantly, you know, a shallow pool of water in there, so the fish is constantly kept wet, and you can just keep topping that up as it's splashing about, you know. The difference between the two, the deluxe is bigger, which is great for, you know, guys that go France a lot. It's definitely a must-have. They all pack down into these nice cases here. This is actually the one for the deluxe, and then you get the same but slightly smaller for the standard. And as I was saying, the differences between the two, on the deluxe you've got adjustable legs just here, which are very easy to operate. Just a thumb press down, and that goes up and down all day long. So you can adjust it to any kind of uneven surface you might be on. It does go at some pretty good angles as well, so you can pretty much always get it straight. And you've got a small pouch here. This is for your Clinique, your Medicarp, whatever you want to call it. I can go in there quite safely, so it's to hand. You've got the kneeling mat, which is great for just keeping your knees out of the dirt, off the stones, whatever, and just making you that a little bit more comfortable. Like I say, the standard doesn't have the pocket or the kneeling pad or the adjustable legs, but doesn't make it any less a product at all. It's still a great buy. Again, this comes with the flaps for when you're doing your bits and bobs, getting your scales and stuff. What a lot of people do is lay their slings or their weigh slings inside here. I'll just get this one. You just lay that across like that. Again, you know, you've got your fish in the landing net, you come over, you're in here, lean down, unhook the fish, you then can slide the landing net out from under the fish, close up your sling, and you're ready to weigh. Job done. You've not even touched the fish yet. So then you'll come round, get it like so, get the fish nice and comfortable, and you've literally don't even have to lift your arms up. Just lever off the bar. Just there you go. Nice picture. Job's a good one. You then close up your sling, off to the water, unzip, release. What can I say? Superb fish safety. I'll just show you quickly how these break down. I'll break down the standard. Okay, so you've got two clips here. These are just for making sure the bottom stays nice and bowed. So you just release them. Like all good carp kit, it's filthy dirty. You just pull your leg off. That goes in the front pocket of the bag that comes with it. You've then got a small bar which just slides in and out. And again, just pack it all into the special pockets for each part, and then literally just roll this section up into the main pouch. Job done. And like I say, fish safety is everybody, you know, that goes carp fishing, it should be your #1 priority. And like I say, the carp cradle is definitely one of the best, most innovative bits of kit that's come out to aid anglers, novices, all the way through to experts in, you know, in perfect fish safety and fish handling.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about some new releases from Nash in terms of bait. This one was released last year, which is the Monster Squid Black. It's been quite breathtaking the amount of fish it's actually caught, and I'm quite surprised how many people have actually jumped on this. It comes in freezer baits only, in kilo bags. It comes in 10s, 15s and 20 mils. The addition to this stuff, you've only ever been able to get the actual bait, pop-ups and the solubles, chain reactions, but just released today are these little fellas. These are the boiler dips in Squid Black, and also the food dips in Squid Black. Boiler dips are quite an oily sort of like type base, if you like, so for summer fishing, putting on mixers or pellets, stuff like that, getting that slick type of thing out of it, plus soaking baits in as well and dipping them. And you've got the food dip, which is more, it's like more of like an amino type compound, a bit thicker in its makeup, again for pouring over boilers. You can put it on pellets, stick mixes, ground baits, etc, etc. But they're done in the Monster Squid Black. And also in it is the Squid Black Arouser. This is that 2-part one. You won't be able to see this because it's so dark, but it's actually done in 2 parts, an oil and an attractor, which you shake together. One of my favourites, these are something that I've used quite a long time now since they got released. Pretty much use them on everything that I use bait wise. But these come in 250ml bottles, and they've got a little nozzle on them on the top there, so you can apply it to whatever you want. So that's a Squid Black range. Something that I've been toying with for many years now is to have a bait unique to myself. Something I could sell in the shop just for people in the shop who come through the door. And I've always been looking sort of like, my trade of thoughts have been along the lines of using sort of like a backstreet rolling company, if you like, one of the smaller guys. Last year I had a word with Gary Bays in terms of him doing us one, and we've come up with a theme of what we want. For the last 6 months we've been developing it and getting it exactly right. It's a brand new bait, it's never been rolled before. It's something that's quite personal to me, and this fella here, it's basically been called the Manchester Specials. We wanted it like a northern name to it, didn't really know what to call it, so we just stuck with the area that it's actually from. Initially speaking, they're going to be done in freezer baits, 15 and 20ml versions of it, available in 750g bags and in these 2.5 kilo bags. We've got food dips and boiler dips, which are obviously the same as what I've just explained with the the Monster Squid. So you've got boiler dip and a food dip in that one, and we're also doing the freezer paste. Price wise, it's exactly the same as if you're buying any of the top rod range. So it's it's exactly the same price as Sculpet Squid, Monster Squid, etc, etc. The actual makeup of the bait, I wanted to do something that was as natural as I could physically get it, without having loads of synthetics inside it. The main base of it is the squid mix. And that's what I wanted. It's got a massive track record squid mix, so I didn't want to develop a new base mix and start messing about with stuff when I had one there that's been so successful over the years. It's got many natural attractors in this that sort of like are just been carp catching attractors for many years, and messed around with loads and loads of different formulations of it till we've got it right. Really happy with the outcome of that. All the fish that we've been catching here, and in the last DVD that we did, was caught on this particular bait for me. The main thing with this is it's unique. It's never ever been made before. It's brand spanking new. I know it's going to do loads and loads of fish. Sometimes you smell carp baits, especially the boilers, and they just smell like they're going to catch fish. And this is definitely one of them. So I'm not going to waffle on about it too much because obviously I don't want to sound like a blatant plug to me. But I'm really happy with this. In fact, I'm over the moon with it. Okay, we've just done a little segment on Diffusion Camo. It was mentioned in the new line, and I would not really had a chance to have a test of it. What we've done, we've come to the water's edge, we found a shallow part of the lake. We've tested in it and we're absolutely over the moon with what this does. I'm going to try and demonstrate that for you now, so hopefully on camera we can get this shot now. Toby's going to show you how it, from above the lake bed, and then once it's immersed in it, what it actually does. Over to you, Tobe.
All right. We've just pulled off just a nice length so I can show you here. Let me just get hold of it. Right, there we go. Hopefully you can see this all right.
It's quite visible, sort of like out of the water, isn't it?
Yeah.
But watch what happens when it immerses in the water.
Right, okay, it's going in now. There you go.
That basically is on the lake bed now and has pretty much disappeared.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to pick out the actual line. The only way I can tell it's there is the fact I'm looking through the 2 points where he's holding it and try to imagine a line in between it, and I can vaguely pick it out, but that has virtually disappeared.
It's disappeared, yeah. It's completely disappeared.
That is truly remarkable.
Very impressive.
It does exactly the same as what the leaders do underwater.
I'll just show you that again. So there it is. Now you see it. No, you don't. Very good. Looking forward to using this on my main spool. Definitely.
Diffusion Camo line.